Why is it important to choose a PRM that is extensible and gives you flexibility in how you integrate with it? Because a well-architectured PRM is supposed to serve as the foundation of your partner operations. Notice I said supposed to, because 99% of PRMs out there aren't fit for this purpose. Most of the PRMs in this category are what we call basic PRMs, SaaS-based models with fixed out-of-the-box features and no enterprise-grade capability for partner operations. Their architecture simply doesn't support the customizability you'll need to manage your partner programs efficiently. Think in partner stack, channel scaler, Ziff, Channeltivity, MindMatrix, Zenfi, 360 ecosystems. And although many of them will tell you they're customizable, it's likely not to the level of customizations you're expecting if you're an enterprise organization with a mature operations. With basic PRMs, you're working with boundaries the vendor drew. You can't change how data flows between entities, you can't extend the data model, and you can't build logic the platform wasn't designed to support. We'll show you a real example of that later in this video, or jump to the timestamp in the description if you want to see it now. Magentrix is different because it's a true PaaS, platform as a service. The distinction matters enormously. It means you can actually customize your PRM at the platform level, not just configure options someone else pre-built for you. Here are 3 ways we accomplish this with Magentrix. The first way to integrate with Magentrix is through Zapier and Make.com, the most accessible route where most teams start. But something to make note of here is that while iPaaSes are table stake in B2B operations, some basic PRMs still do not offer iPaaS connections at all. The second method is our REST API. This is where Magentrix begins to separate itself in a meaningful way. Every modern platform claims to have an API. With basic PRMs, that usually means gated access, narrow endpoint coverage. Basic PRMs don't expose many endpoints you might need, read-only or inconsistent write support. Magentrix's REST API gives you full read and write access across all your entire data model, including custom objects. Webhook support for real-time events. The openness to pipe your data into Snowflake, BigQuery, or the BI stack of your choice. Because a real API is the prerequisite for the real data pipeline. Schema-level access, including the entity list with KeyPrefix mapping that made the reward reporting solution we're building today possible. You can learn more at Magentrix.com. And if you want a deeper breakdown of how our REST API compares to a few basic PRMs who have one, check the video description for specific resources. The third method is the most powerful and simply not available on any basic PRM. With Magentrix, you can build custom apps that live natively inside your portal, sharing the same authentication, data, theming, and user experience as the rest of the platform. You build them using our browser-based IDE or our CLI, which supports version control and CI/CD pipeline integration. Again, all other PRMs are closed SaaS systems. You might be able to configure some part of what they've built, and often not in a deep manner, but you cannot build what they didn't build. Let me show you a real scenario that illustrates exactly why basic PRMs fall apart at the enterprise level. A customer needed a report showing reward records along the deal and activity those rewards were earned on. Simple enough on the surface, but the rewards entity record ID field is a polymorphic lookup. It doesn't point to one specific entity type, and the only way to identify which entity it belongs to is by reading the key prefix, the first 3 characters of the ID. A standard report builder expects a declared type relationship. Polymorphic lookups have none. Dead end. And pushing the data to Salesforce doesn't help either. Same constraint, same wall, just more expensive. How Magentrix solves it? Our REST API exposes every entity in your org, including its key prefix. So record ID resolution happens dynamically at runtime. Because Magentrix is a PaaS, you can build custom apps natively inside the portal that produces exactly the cross-entity report this customer needs. No basic SaaS-based PRM can get you here. Not because of missing features, but because SaaS architecture makes it structurally impossible. Now, together with the help of Claude, let's build an Iris app for Magentrix that will demonstrate the use of this polymorphic field. It will provide more intelligence around the reward module within Magentrix. I have set up my Claude here. I have already connected it to a local folder called rewards. And this folder is, as you can see, is empty. In my environment, I'm going to be connecting to the ShieldTech demo environment that I have set up here. And we'll get the information from this portal and feed it to Claude. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Claude to discover the ShieldTech portal. This is usually the first thing I like to do and how I like to get started when I program with Claude. I'm going to trust the workspace. So the first thing it's going to do, it's going to connect to ShieldTech demo portal. It's going to scan all the entities and everything that is within the portal. In this Claude, I have the organizational skills as to how to work with the Magentrix REST API. I will be providing those in the GitHub repository that I will share with everyone later on. Now, you notice that I gave a refresh token to Claude to be able to scan the portal. The way you would get the refresh token is by you going to your environment, click on your avatar, click on setting, and click on my external apps. And then here you can create a private key that you can later share with Claude, or when building your Iris app, you will need to provide that. It's listing all the entities within the portal. Now, I needed to know about some other entities that also exist within our system, and I'm going to give the list of those entities as well. While it's doing that, I'm going to type in my next prompt. In my next prompt, I'm just going to tell it to make sure it follows the Iris software development guidelines, because we are going to be using the CSS within the portal that is configured. We don't want it to come up with its own CSS rules. Also, I'm going to ask Claude to help me deploy my Iris app and guide me as to how it is set up. Okay. Let's describe today's objective. Basically told it that it's going to be working with the reward entity. The reward entity has a field called record ID, and this field is going to be connected to different entities. It's going to have the record IDs of many different entities. So it's not a one-to-one relationship. And the way it's going to connect as to how each ID belongs to which entity is the first three characters of each record ID. The first three characters of each record ID in Magentrix, it represents the entity that the record belongs to. For example, in this scenario, if it has a record prefix of 70p, belongs to one specific entity. Or if it has 009, it belongs to another entity. It already has discovered some of the entities, and I gave it the complete list of all the entities ahead of time. It's trying to grab some sample records from the reward entity and match it against the rest of the entities that exist in the system. While it's doing that, I'm going to share with you the next prompt that I'm going to provide it. The next prompt is going to be telling it what I want it to build. So it's going to have a home tab that it provides an overview of all the rewards. It's going to have a combined record, who earned what, the program performance, any abnormality, and trend records. So I'm going to provide it with this prompt that I have prepared ahead of time, so that it knows what it's actually going to be building. This is the prompt that it's actually telling it what to build. It seems like it wasn't able to find the skills. I'm going to give it the NPM page where we have published our documentation so that it knows where to get the information from. I'm going to ask Claude. It's giving me the step-by-step configuration. I'm actually going to have Claude make all the necessary changes that it needs. I'm also going to rename from Reward Intelligence to Reward Dashboard. All right, it seems like Claude finished. It built all the necessary pages. Now it's telling me how to install it. Now I needed to change it from Reward Intelligence to something else. Let me tell that right now. Now telling it to update the folder name and give me the commands that I need to run again. Okay, CLI is already installed on this machine, so I'm going to tell it to skip. Okay, need to go to the folder. Just going to copy the command here. Let's check out the application using this location. So this is now currently running outside of the portal. It is not running inside the portal. and I'm seeing a blank screen. I'm going to let Claude do the work and use the browser to navigate and make sure everything is working. There are definitely some things that I can see here that I want to change. I'll let it finish and then I'll prompt it as to what it needs to change. I actually figured out the bar chart issue itself. There we go, it fixed it. All right, so now let's take a look. I'm gonna leave this for Claude to use. I'll use my own screen here. So the first thing I wanted to do is I don't like the word entity discovery. I'm gonna ask it to change the tab name. The rest is okay. Okay, now it's finding more records. Then I click on leads. Perfect. Now, the next thing I wanted to change is that this does not mean anything. This is actually something I wanted changed. The reason we are writing is because we don't want to deal with IDs. We want to see actual records and who it belongs to, which we have it here, who it belongs to, but what the record is about, whether it's a login history, whether it's an opportunity lead, we want to know what it is. So what it needs to do, it needs to actually query each of these records and get their name and show their name. Now, to do that, if we had, let's say, 500 records, it would try to show all 500 records in one page. I've asked it to make a change so that it actually paginates and it does not show all the records all at once. So this way, it will give a chance for the screen to load and for you to be able to find the proper record that you're looking for. While it's doing that, I'm taking out the rest of the screens to make sure that they're good. It needs to do the same thing on the who earned what. Let's review what it's done. So if I go back to combined report, it's now showing me the actual IDs, actual names of the record. And it's not just showing me some record ID. And it implemented a proper pagination for me. So I can go and navigate through each page. And these are all links that will open up in a new window. Now I cannot open it here because it's a partial URL. I need to actually deploy this into the Magentrix portal before it opens up properly. It's also paginating here. Perfect. Now that our development is done, we're going to publish the app we just created into the Magentrix portal, which in this scenario, it's going to be our ShieldTech portal with the URL demo3.magentrixcloud.com. In order to do that, I'm going to my command prompt and type Magentrix setup. It requires my Magentrix API key. This is the same key I gave Claude when it was building the application. To do that, I click on my avatar, my setting, external app, view refresh token, copy it and paste it here. Next, it needs the URL to the portal. So I'm just going to copy that, paste it here. Perfect. Next step is I need to do a pull before I can do any kind of publish here. So I'm going to type Magentrix pull. This will grab all the latest code from Magentrix and it will store it locally. Now that it's done that, now I can go ahead and publish my Iris app. And the command that does that is view run build. So we're going to type Magentrix view run build. This is now deployed into our portal. Let's go and verify. I'm going to go back to my portal here, click on my name, setup, go to create, navigation menu. Anytime you build an Iris app and deploy it into a portal, it will automatically create a navigation menu item. I'm going to put that in my admin portal, the menu item for it. So I'm just going to say reward dashboard. There we go, right here. Before this becomes visible, I need to make sure that its permission is configured correctly. The way to verify that is right click on it, click share. I want to make sure that this is shared with the administrator. If it's not shared with the administrator, it will not be visible. Similar, if you want your other users or other roles to see it, you need to make sure either the roles or the groups are configured. Let's save the setting, save, and go back to my home. As you can see now, I see reward dashboard right here. I click on it, and this is my application, my Iris application, running inside the Magentrix portal. If I go to combined report now, it's all here. Let's go back to all the way to 2023. Now I want to look at the leads. So if I click here, there seems to be a bug. It seems like it's not filtering based on the leads. So I'm going to have Claude fix that bug a little bit later on, but I want to make sure that I can actually view my leads here. I'm just going to go find it manually. There we go. And I'm going to click on it, and it should open it up in a brand new window right here. Now I have linked all my rewards to the actual records within the portal, and I can easily filter and even download them as a CSV file. This concludes our session for today. I'm going to publish this in a GitHub and make the links available to you with all the resources. Having a robust extensibility becomes critically important when you have a mature partner operations. If you're earlier stage, a basic PRM will handle your needs just fine, at least at first. But as your program grows and your workflow gets more sophisticated, you will hit a ceiling of what a SaaS PRM can do.